looks like we are now at 9:30, so go ahead and get this show started. And thank you all for joining me tonight or today. This is Daniel Root, the Zoom in with Daniel Root for October 22nd. So I am going to go ahead and redo a presentation that I did for last Tuesday, where I talk about the video where the Sunstream Mini Sauna has been unboxed and assembled for your viewing pleasure. As you can see, though, it is inside of an apartment, and this is the Detoxination retreat with Daniel Root. So this is actually the setup that you can see in that picture. But I show you how it comes palletized, the Sunstream Mini, and then I unbox it and stage it, and then go ahead and show you how to assemble it and plug in the wires and everything. And then we have that final product. So this is one of my favorite saunas. I've owned several of them. I actually used this sauna for the lockdowns during the COVID period, because I could take it to people's homes and set it up. And you'll see how easy it is for me to set up this sauna. I've done it so many times, probably close to 11 or 12 times, to be honest. But the Sunstream Mini is so portable that I can actually disassemble it, throw it in the back of my Chevy Tahoe, and take it over to somebody's home, and then set it up for them in about 15 minutes, show them how to use it, and then I do my remote detox coaching. So this is such a great sauna for that. And like I said, I've done it several times, so I make it look easy in the video. But anyway, so I'm going to end the screen share and go ahead and open up the meeting for anybody who would like to start off with a question. Just unmute and go ahead and fire away.
Hello, then this is Birgit calling from Germany.
Welcome, nice to have you.
Welcome. Actually, I'm absolutely new to a niacin sauna. I got a recommendation from my doctor to do niacin sauna, but I have several, let's say, health concerns.
Okay.
And one of them is a gene mutation, MTHFR. And,
how many polymorphisms do you have on that?
I have this A1298
So just
C,
a
I
single,
guess it
yep.
is, and the C677T.
Oh, okay.
And it's stated that I have about 30% detoxification capabilities out of that left. And
Okay.
so my question was, so I have one a protocol or paper from you, I guess, that talks about this MTHFR.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also doing already IR sauna, but I was just wondering, at the moment, the problem is that if I do normal sauna, I already feel that the toxins, and it's already compromising my health to a certain extent. And I wonder, two questions, if I do it then with niacin, will this be worse? And then also I read that niacin is not good for the liver, and my liver is already not doing so well on the P450, so second stage, or I don't know exactly how you call that. Is it safe for me to do that at all?
Yes, it is. So firstly, understand that the MTHFR gene polymorphisms are really not involved with the actual detoxification of heavy metals and man-made chemicals or lipophilic xenobiotics. The toxins that they are referring to that your body's having problems detoxing are the actual definition of the word toxin. So toxin is an antigenic poison or venom of plant or animal origin, one derived by or produced by microorganisms, and can cause disease at low concentrations in the body. So the thing about it is that heavy metals and man-made chemicals are actually toxicants. And then when they enter the body, they become xenobiotics or foreign substances. So the MTHFR gene polymorphisms are actually more a concern for the body's ability to detox just standard, run-of-the-mill toxins in the body, because, your body has a lot of bacteria that are there for good reasons, some that are bad, but they are producing their own waste, which are toxins. When they die off, you get kind of a Herxheimer reaction if it's a large die off, and that's probably what you're actually
exactly
dealing with. So the thing about it is that nobody on this planet has adapted to being able to detox these man-made chemicals and heavy metals. So we need a program like ours to do that. Now, the fact that your liver is maybe a little compromised is not a problem. Now, if you really did have like a true liver disease that was preventing your liver from functioning normally, I would have more concern. However,
Okay.
the niacin is not actually what they call hepatotoxic. The niacin we use on the protocol is it's the immediate release natural form of niacin. And doctors are trained to tell people that high doses of niacin are not safe. And yet other doctors know that to lower HDL, or excuse me, lower the LDL and improve HDL, you can use niacin around 6,000 milligrams a day. And
Wow.
so, it's a case of the medical profession is trained to basically warn people against high doses of niacin. And the biggest reason for that is the form of niacin that they're using is a pharmaceutical grade, which has been basically synthetic manufactured, where they what they tend to do is they actually make them like a slow release or a sustained release or timed or extended release form. And the ones that are the more hepatotoxic are the ones that cause the
Yeah.
liver to have to process them for longer periods of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we
I
use
read that
immediate
as
release.
well. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I'm not worried about you being able to do our protocol. Now, because it's not just niacin and sauna, there's a lot more moving parts to this program, including things like oils, lecithin, binders. There's a lot of vitamins, depending on where you are from. The CalMag beverage, for example, electrolytes. So there's a lot of different things that we use on this protocol, and they're there to help support the remaining detox organs, because we're taking advantage of the largest detox organ of the body, and that is the skin, which it makes up about 22 square feet, just so you know. So I'm not worried about you doing the protocol. In
Okay.
fact, I would recommend that you do schedule a complimentary consultation with me, that we can then talk more about your case, and I can make sure that you don't have any true preclusions or contraindications.
Okay. I'd love to do so.
Okay, anybody else have a question like to chime in? John?
Hi, my name is John, and I live in Michigan.
Hey, John,
And
welcome.
first of all, thank you for offering this. I'm brand new, just doing some research. 6 months ago, I had an MRI with
Oh,
Metahance, and 5 days after, I had the most unbelievable headache. I never had headaches in my life. I'm 58 years old, and I've had headaches basically every day since then.
I'm so sorry.
I've got them to go down, but with other symptoms as well. But just wondering, and this might be best in a private consultation, but I'm just trying to choose. I've heard about chelation. I'm very interested in what you guys do, and I just wondered the best steps to plan a course of treatment.
Sure. And for those of you that don't know what he's referring to, gadolinium is the contrast dye that they use for MRIs. And as much as I cannot believe that this has not been removed from the medical community, because it is a very toxic rare earth metal, and it is known for causing all kinds of medical conditions, including severe bone pain, brain zaps or electrical sensations, joint pains, brain fog and cognitive dysfunction, which can be caused by a lot of different things, by the way. But there's also things like the body temperature can be lower than normal, and hair loss can occur and things like that. But the worst symptom of all is even deadly, and it's called nephrogenic systemic fibrosis, or NSF. And it's where the skin is thickened, or feels like it's wood even. And if you get to that level, then it's a pretty severe poisoning. The good news for you, though, John, is that we have successfully been detoxing gadolinium for many years now. I've been working with clients or patients at the center when I had one I do most of my work now remotely up until we had this apartment set up. But the thing is that the protocol is perfectly suited for detoxing gadolinium. It's actually better than chelation, which is the pronunciation, by the way. It's better than chelation. However, we have found that if somebody is doing DTPA chelation with our protocol, like once a week during our protocol, the results are even more staggering. So it is something, though, you don't need to do the chelation to actually detox it. This program will take care of it because gadolinium is storing in bone, skin, the adipose tissues, some of the organs, definitely the brain. And this program attacks any adipose tissues that have stored toxins. So if you haven't learned yet how this program works, there's a couple of videos that I recommend you watch. They look like the same, title screen. One of them is sauna detoxification using niacin, and then it says detoxination overview or something along those lines. And then there's the part 2 video, and it's a part 2, a deeper dive into detoxination. I'll have those links in the description of this video, so that those will be there. But the thing is that those 2 videos will give you a better understanding of how the program works, what the process called rebound lipolysis is all about. And in fact, in the first video, I was pronouncing it rebound lipolysis, which is another way of saying the word, but more people are using the lipolysis. So I just want you to be aware that those are the same word. But the thing is that the protocol has a specific use for the niacin. So niacin does cause a flush, which has some value, but the flush was not the real reason why niacin was actually needed for the protocol. So when you watch those videos, you'll learn about rebound lipolysis. In fact, have you at this point heard that before?
Yes, I was scanning a couple of your videos. Again, it's only been a couple of days since I got in contact with you
Okay.
through email and your website. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. So that those 2 videos right there can tell you pretty much everything you need to know about how the program works. I don't really put too much information about the actual steps of the protocol. And I've repeated this several times, and I'll do it again here. But I find that if people don't actually, put some skin in the game, if you will, purchase the $15 book, or the guidebook. It's the protocol guidebook, actually. Or the actual book, which is about $24.95, I think, on Amazon. If you don't actually put some skin in the game, you're going to dabble, and it's going to be something that's not going to work for you. So it's not just about taking niacin, getting a flush, and jumping into sauna. You have to know how to dose and time the niacin to make sure that you trigger rebound, because that's how we liberate the toxicants from fat at 3 times normal levels, because your body is always liberating some toxins through the process of lipolysis. Lipolysis is where the triglycerides in the fat cells are broken down into a glycerol and 3 fatty acids, and there's millions of them in the fat cell. They become the fuel. The glycerol and the free fatty acid, or the fatty acids at that point, become the fuel for the mitochondria to produce ATP energy. And so when the free fatty acids are leaving the fat cells where they've basically originated from, to go fuel the other cells in the body that also produce ATP energy, they have mitochondria. The free fatty acids are something that siphon off some of the toxins that are stored in the fat cell and bring them back into circulation. And that's how chelation works. So chelation is a chemical that they inject into the body that is designed to pick up heavy metals, certain heavy metals, that are in blood circulation. Well, they got there because of just normal activity or lipolysis. So when you are on our protocol, niacin sets up the rebound lipolysis, and it triggers so high that the liberation of toxins becomes at 3 times normal levels at the peak. And this is what we exploit with the niacin.
Wow, excellent information there. If I can just give 2 quick follow-ups. One is a question on, do you still do the 30-day program on site in California? And the second one is just an anecdote here. Medical establishment by me has been clueless. After nonstop headaches so long, I went to a neurologist. The first thing they wanted me to do was get an MRI with contrast.
Gosh.
So luckily I read something and I said, no, I'm not doing the contrast. I did the MRI again, but anyway, appreciate it.
Yes. So to answer the first question about the 30-day program in California, the apartment that I showed you in the intro of this, if you were on there at the time, if not, I'll see if I can bring it up again. So this is the apartment that is where I now am able to treat patients or clients that come to California to do the 30-day program with me. Excuse me. So the Sunstream Mini is the sauna that you would be using. I can only do one person at a time on a 30-day program with this setup. And we may set up another apartment, but I don't have a true facility where, my ideal scene would be to have a sauna spa, if you will, that has multiple saunas and that we can work with multiple people. But this is a one-off thing where right now I can only have one person staying in the apartment for the 30 days, but it is available for November and December. And then after that, we have to increase the rent because of the upcoming, changes to the property fees. So anyway, it is something that is available. Stop share there.
Thank you.
Now, as far as the second question, I've already lost it. What was the second part?
Oh, it wasn't a second question. It was just a comment that
Okay.
it's very frustrating dealing with traditional medicine. And like I said, in order to treat my headaches, the first thing they wanted me to do is take another MRI with contrast.
I know. Isn't that ridiculous? In fact, I am sickened by the fact that people who have multiple sclerosis are given multiple MRIs with contrast per year. And that is truly just, I think, criminal, to be honest, because they're exacerbating the problem with the gadolinium. And the case study that I do talk about the most is a woman who had 32 gadolinium injections and was bedridden and completely disabled. But fortunately, she went through our program with my guidance. She dabbled with it for the first 3 times. And then she went through it with me, and she's gone through it now with me 5 times. And she went from being bedridden to being able to move around to then after the 5th one being able to dance, which is a goal that she had. And she's done it a couple more times without me because she now knows how to do it. But the thing is that she basically said that she wants to keep her body detoxed, so she just wants to keep going with it. And I think that's great that she's doing that. But her gadolinium problems have been mostly reduced to nothing. The reason I can say mostly is because I'm sure that there's probably some gadolinium still in her system because of how it stores in bone and things like that. But we are able to get it out of bone, but I can't say that we get all of it out. The thing is that she also had some other damage from radiation that actually burned her. So she's got some other issues that will never go away. But as far as we're concerned, she has been reversed with her gadolinium toxicity. But we're getting poisoned from all angles at this point in time. I mean, we're getting it from the air, the contrails or chemtrails, which they really are. And then, the food and the water and everything is just so contaminated. So I don't believe the body will ever be fully detoxed. I do think, though, that doing our program is the best way to keep your body from coming down with any kind of diseases that are related to environmental toxicants. And I feel like I'm a living example of it because at 61 years old, I actually have no medical conditions or even any inflammation or aches, pains, or anything. So it's been a gift for me to have my father being, so able to really take this into the occupational medicine and bring it to the public.
May
Okay.
I ask another question?
Certainly.
Okay, so you were talking about this lipolysis. So from that, I understand that the detoxification happens from the body fat. Does that mean that any toxins that are stored or stored in, for example, the pancreas or the liver will not be detoxed because my history is I was I have heavy metals, and I was doing a very unhappy round with chlorella, and I lost all my body fat. I was skin and bones. I was bedbound. And so I got very, very, very sick. That was 2.5 years ago. And since then, I gained weight again. I did a lot of things, but I am with a German doctor who learned from Dr. Simon Yu. So he's body testing me. And he said that I have a lot of amalgam or mercury in the pancreas. And so my question is will this program be able to detox my pancreas as well? Or because I don't have a lot of fat in my body, I'm not, so can it help there as well?
It can. Now, so we talk about rebound lipolysis as being the main reason for the niacin, but the other components that are involved with this protocol, excuse me, include lecithin and evening primrose oil, which are both emulsifiers. And these emulsifiers are helping to actually detox other parts of the body. So there's in that second part video, that part 2, a deeper dive into detoxination, there is a section in there where I talk about how the toxins store in cells. So it's not just adipose tissues that are storing toxins. The lipid bilayer of the cell membranes has a lipophilic interior and then a hydrophilic exterior. So the cell membranes have a section that can store these lipophilic toxins. And due to the emulsifiers that we use on the protocol, we're able to actually get those mobilized as well out of the organs even. So the protocol is supporting all the detox organs as well as making sure that the program can actually detox the whole system. But adipose tissues are where most of these lipophilic xenobiotics are storing. And so we need the niacin to be able to actually liberate those. But yeah, we are able to actually detox just about every part of the body. The brain even is partly adipose tissues. It's actually 60 to 70% fat, but it's not all adipose. But the toxins are also detoxed from the brain in this program. But the mercury is something that in fact, sweat is one of the main mechanisms for getting mercury out of the system. And that's been shown in studies, not even our own studies, other studies.
That's really good news because it took me 1.5 years to be able to sweat again. So I'm really putting all my hopes on this program.
You have hypohidrosis, it sounds like. How's your iodine levels?
I am filling up my iodine level since 1.5 years together with selenium, and that actually enabled me to sweat again.
Good. You're on it then. Wonderful to hear. So this protocol should be pretty good for you. I still don't have a full health history. As a matter of fact, for those who are interested in meeting with me, there is a link under our contact us menu choices. That's the health history questionnaire, and it would be very helpful if you fill those out prior to our meetings.
I did that already, so you should have it.
Good. I thought I did. I just want other people to be aware of the fact that those help me to better assist you with the consultations, making sure that the protocol is appropriate for you and all that. Sure.
Actually, I did also a parasite protocol because I am in a lot of Facebook groups for chelation with OSR, I did 8 months DMSA with calcium EDTA, and so I did a lot of chelation with chelators, but it did not help me at all until I found out that I need to remove parasites first. So I'm with this German doctor that learned from Dr. Simon Yu in the US. We removed all the parasites, or we did 3 rounds parasite treatment, and he said, now I'm ready to detox. And he actually recommended you rather than chelation with those fat chelators or water chelators. So
okay, great. Glad to hear that. Excuse me. So the one thing that I find interesting about that they wanted to do the parasite cleanses before a detox is the fact that heavy metals are actually the fuel or food for a lot of opportunistic pathogens. So I kind of see that seems like it's reversed, but if you don't detox the heavy metals and man-made chemicals, you're fighting an uphill battle, if you ask me.
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit chicken and egg with the parasites and the heavy metal. But for me, at least, I could not move ahead with detox at all. And
Yeah,
I didn't know why. And it looks now, the situation is now better. At least I feel healthier than before,
great.
less sick, or however you want to put it. And so that would be now my point to go about it.
Wonderful. Glad to hear that. But yes, again, look forward to talking with you and then helping you to get going with this program.
Thanks.
Okay, do we have anybody else want to chime in?
I will, if that's all right. This is
Yes,
Jody.
Jody.
I tried to get on last week and my microphone would not work. It was crazy.
Oh,
And
I remember also you joined as we were about to shut off.
yeah, I was like, I have to get in this question. And anyway, so here I am. And I actually was on last week on day 21. And I had mentioned previous to that, I had been doing pretty good. And then I started feeling much more detoxing symptoms as time went on. And so I upped the zeolite. And then by the time, last time on last Tuesday, I was on day 21 and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I was not sleeping well. Well, here's my question. Menopause is my time of life right now. And I don't know if you've had any experience with women going through your protocol that experienced, I felt like my cortisol, I know there's like, you're going to be in fight or flight during this, but it at the last, 5 days of the day 15, the cortisol just felt like it went through the roof. And I'm on HRT and I felt like I was like sweating out all those hormones, the ones that were helping me to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if that's something you were familiar with, or if that's a true thought. I should probably go get tested again to see where I'm at now, but it just felt like I just crashed on all my hormones because I am taking them, synthetically.
Yeah, this is definitely you're right on target, I would say, with you're sweating out some of these things that are important for your system, because we know we're sweating out the good stuff with the bad. The minerals, for example, we have to replenish all of the minerals, the electrolytes. And so we do know that we lose a lot of good stuff with this protocol, but
Yeah.
For the most part, when you're going through menopause, you've got that added stressor. So if somebody were going through menopause before they started the program, I would probably warn off against it. It's not one of the preclusions or contraindications, but it is one of those discussion points. So when a woman is on her period, the hot sauna can actually be beneficial, but some people find it the exact opposite. So it's a case by case
Okay.
situation.
Well, I'm obsessed. I'm in awe. The experience was phenomenal, except for what, I'm actually willing to go through the hormonal, because I know how to get it back, those levels. But I had just such an admiration towards you and your father I could feel such a difference of what was happening and how badly I need this because of my many gadolinium injections. And ironically, a week ago, my best friend called me and she said she had her like 6, had to have an emergency, another MRI with contrast. And she had a severe reaction and they said, you are now allergic to this dye contrast. You can never have it again. And she called me going, because she doesn't do anything I do. I'm the witch doctor in the friendship. And she says, I was telling her, and when she had called me, I was in the sauna.
Oh, wow.
And so I was telling her, I'm like, I have a remedy if you want to ever feel better. And she's gone. I mean, the steroids they gave her, it's going to be a long haul. And she doesn't right now. She's not interested, but I give her a few years and we'll hopefully get her in the sauna. But anyway, I'm grateful. I'm humbled that I found you guys. I'm humbled for the protocol. I'm grateful and I feel hope. And I'm so every time I'm in the sauna, I think that like I got to scream it from the rooftops. Thank you. So anyway,
pleasure. Thank you so much. Made my day. But yeah, I really felt like if I did not bring this to the public, it would have died on the vine when my father retired. So it was something that I didn't even have his blessings in the beginning to write the book. Fortunately, he read through it. In fact, I love to tell the story that the original first chapter took about 4 years to write because it was a chapter on, what are the problems out there. And it led me down so many rabbit holes. And the shocking thing to me was to find out that most of these rabbit holes were connected at the bottom. And if you interpret that to mean agendas, that's what you get.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wrote the original first chapter, which is in the files section of my Facebook group. But the original first chapter was a scathing review of the Rockefeller medicine that kicked in around 1911. And then my father couldn't put his name on the book with that first chapter, so I had to rewrite it. But I still have it out there. Anyway, once I rewrote the chapter and I laid it out for him to see how I was, basically putting it in the public's hands, and then explained to him or reminded him that people are able to buy Clear Body, Clear Mind from L. Ron Hubbard if they, want to. And they are doing that, and people are trying to do it based on his writings, and you cannot follow the way he's written it. There's no rhyme or reason to the timing of everything. And plus, the most important things are the fact that L. Ron Hubbard didn't know anything about rebound lipolysis. In fact, he thought that the flush in the very beginning, he thought that the niacin flush was actually stored radiation from past sunburns being turned on by niacin. So that was his thinking. But he also didn't know anything about far infrared saunas. And so once we learned that humans have a rebound that takes about 2.5 to 3 hours after adjusting the proper niacin dose, then we also needed to improve or speed up the sauna time so that to get more effective sauna time, which is how the infrared saunas came into play here. So the original Hubbard method took 4.5 to 5 hours, most of that time in a sauna, but it was a dry sauna. So once we realized that humans actually trigger the rebound within 2.5 to 3 hours after ingesting niacin, that's when we realized that it was the first 3 hours, or actually the last 2 hours of their program, which were the most effective, meaning that the first 3 hours were almost a complete waste of time. So that's how we were able to reduce it down to a 2-hour program. And, with the infrared saunas and the binders, it became a far more effective program with less time commitment. And when my father read the book, he was like, okay, I'll put my name on it.
I love it. Well, you got something up on Tom Cruise, because now we know how he's aged a little slower, but maybe
Right?
he's had to do a harder effort to get it to that. But I also just a little positive note. This past week, I held my weight for the past year, just not budged, and I lost 3 pounds out of nowhere. So I know that was a part of it. So I know it's a good thing I'm doing it, and the menopause can just deal. But so I had a question though. My time in between, I was going to go 3 weeks, but I'm so anxious. I want to start at 2 weeks again. So I have one more week before I start back up. Am I pushing it with the cortisol? Is that just too much for a menopausal woman?
Well, in your case, it could be, but the 2 weeks minimum. In fact, you've got the book, right? So
Yeah.
do you happen to have the second edition of the book or the first edition?
Second.
Okay, good. Because in the first edition, I talked about the delay between programs should be 30 to 45 days. We revisited that and realized that the goal here really is to get the body to return to homeostasis, as well as to reset the niacin back to a place where you can start at 100 milligrams or 50 milligrams if you have to. So the 2 week period became the norm for us because we know the body is able to return to homeostasis in the 2 week period. But as far as your condition goes, you may need to push it out. But I will tell you that for the most part, 2 weeks is all that's really needed to pause in between programs.
Okay. I have to say one more positive note for anyone. I've listened to every single one of these, and every person's comments always help. So I was listening to a podcast. This dermatologist said that niacin actually decreases your skin cancer chances by 30%. And I had this weird skin thing on my face, and I'm in a portable head out sauna that has my head's out.
Mhm.
But I had the skin thing that kind of is like a mole, but it started going through, it started hurting and it's kind of scabbing. And at the end of the 3 weeks, it's kind of flat now and nothing's there. And I'm like, was that the niacin or it could be all of it. But I just, positive, 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 and one negative for the menopause for me. But I'm grateful. So that's just a fun note to go when I'm taking the niacin, I'm like, hey, I'm helping, skin cancer chances here is lowering. So anyway. Thank you.
My pleasure. It is true that niacin has a lot of health benefits that go way beyond what we do with this program. But the interesting thing too is that it's probably because you were detoxing the chemicals that were actually.
I was wondering. Yeah. It's so great. It's so great. So thank you. I appreciate it. And
my pleasure.
Onward and upward.
Awesome. Well done. And thank you for chiming in. I do appreciate that. Like I said, you made my day. Anyway, anybody else have a question they'd like to chime in?
So I have one more question.
Okay.
Just listening to Jody and her issues she had on the 21st day. So if you're doing this round and you can't make it to the 30th day, is it okay if you shorten the program then? Or I don't know, Jody, what you did, but can you stop earlier? Or do you have to go through the whole 30 days to lower the toxins enough to be able to get out of the program?
So a 30-day protocol is recommended, and multiple 30-day programs are also recommended because of the fact that our studies have always shown that the body burden reductions are about 1/3 on a 30-day program. However, the average days on a Hubbard method were 21 days, and you can do a 21-day program, and you can even do a 14-day program. However, I really strongly encourage people to push for the full, 30 days. Because that's just where we know that the system is the most cleaned out. The important thing to realize is that each day you're on this program, the niacin rebound is affecting different compartments. It's not everything's being hit at each niacin dose. So you're going to have some days that you're seeing more of a, well, you won't really see it, but you'll have
experience,
compartments that are going to be more affected than the others, and then it just kind of randomly hits other areas of the body. And so when you're on a 30-day program like ours, you're going to need to be able to not just liberate these toxins, but get them actually mobilized to where they can be sweated out. And it's a hit or miss thing with toxins. There's about a 72-hour window for a toxin to be liberated from adipose tissues or the cells, and then get back into circulation and be somehow dealt with, either by excreting through the sebaceous sweat picked up by the binders in the GI tract, or redistributed somewhere else after going through many cycles of enterohepatic recirculation, which is where the liver attempts to process them again and again and again, but can't do anything about it. So they get rejected and resequestered. So that's why, by the way, we also taper you down in the last 3 days of a 30-day program. So we want to make sure that we let the body deal with whatever has already been liberated in those last 3 days. Now, if you're going to do a 14 or 21-day program, just know that it's best to continue to do sauna afterwards and take binders, of course. We go through a full tub of the zeolite per program. So one tub tends to work for a full, 30-day program, unless you're really high dosing it. I do recommend 3 to 5 teaspoons or scoop sizes of that zeolite per day, and so one tub usually will be enough. There are other brands of zeolite that are not the same. In fact, I was talking about this in other Zoom calls, but this is Zeocharge, and I met with the owner, Jeff Hoyt, and was talking to him about his version of zeolite, which is a good product. But one of those tubs won't get you through a full 30-day program. It'll take, I think it was like 3.5 to 4 tubs of that stuff. And the price on it, it can be over $200 to get, enough of that zeolite versus $44 on one tub of the hyaltrophin. So I don't recommend it because it's so costly. But and I was also in the call with him asking how much zeolite is it safe to take. And he told me that he did one of these tubs every day for 10 days straight. And that's 150 grams, or I think 5.29 ounces. Yeah. So, it's safe to take in large quantities, and you want to be doing that, especially if you're doing a shorter version. So if you're doing a 14 or 21-day program, and try to continue to do sauna and taking binders, so that you can take care of those toxins.
And that leads me directly to my next question. Zeolite, I know about zeolite for a long time, but it's been discussed very controversially. There is a lot of claims out there that zeolite contains a lot of heavy metals itself, or like aluminium or lead, and that it is dangerous to take it, especially the microfine powder, which actually penetrates the GI tract and can go into the bloodstream. And so I was actually, and today I'm still a little bit skeptical, and at times I was really afraid, because I was using zeolite for a while and then I stopped it because of these controversial discussions. So what is your findings on that? And I see that you are recommending it and using it with success. So can you elaborate on that one a little bit, please?
I certainly can. In fact, this is a subject that I've done battle with for a long time. I finally wrote an article in my blog on my website to actually address all of these concerns. And it is true that the zeolite has heavy metals, and it is made of aluminosilicates, but they're not coming out of zeolite and they're not coming into your body. They're actually attracting like metals into the system, or from the system. And then also the only way the body could ever be contaminated by the zeolite is if the body got heated up to over 400 degrees Celsius or 752 degrees Fahrenheit. So you'd have bigger problems if that happened. And there was one guy who posted an article that cited a study that he claims says that the stomach acids can cause zeolite to release the heavy metals and things like that. Well, I read through that study, and it says the exact opposite. It does not affect the zeolite. So there's so much fear mongering out there. You have to wonder who's actually behind the fear mongering. And it always leads me back to Big Pharma. If anything's helping, they don't want you to know about it, or they don't want you using it. Zeolite gets a bad rap, or excuse me, niacin also gets a bad rap because they use a form of niacin that is hepatotoxic. And I didn't, by the way, mention how do they make these slow release or sustained release forms of niacin? What do they do to them? The actual thing they do is they coat the tablets with phthalates that are toxic. This is the stuff that makes plastic bottles squeezy. So they actually use phthalates to cause the niacin to be processed longer in the liver. So these are two things that I hear a lot, and so I finally wrote the article for the zeolite, and you can find that. It's called Zeolite Clean Up Till the Light. Is it safe? So you can find that in our blog.
Okay, I will check for that one. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, thank you all. I do appreciate you joining me, and the kind words I got tonight. Thank you, Jody. And we will be looking forward to seeing you all again next Tuesday, which I believe is going to be the Eastern Standard Time at 6:30. So you guys have a wonderful day or evening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
My pleasure. My pleasure.